you're nobody now." Harry exploded with jealousy as sidelined by Kate and William's kids at new outing. This week we witnessed Prince George, 8, and Princess Charlotte, 6, attending their very major official event, namely the service of thanksgiving for the life of their great-grandfather, and barbecue impresario extraordinaire, Prince Philip. For George and Charlotte this was a Rubicon-crossing moment, marking just the very first of the hundreds, if not thousands, of lengthy church services, tedious military ceremonies and attendance mandatory HRH outings they are now looking down the barrel of. But what was marked about the Cambridge kidlet's appearance at the memorial, aside from the bizarre sight of watching the Archbishop of Canterbury having to politely make chit-chat with someone who I'm guessing is not adverse to eating clag, was that this was also a watershed moment for their uncle and California resident Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. As the service ended, the royal family made their way outside in order of precedence. First came Prince Charles and his wife, the vastly underappreciated Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, followed by George and Charlotte and their parents William and Kate, Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, back on home soil after their bruising tour of the Caribbean. However, what set the moment apart was that it marked the first that Harry would have had to publicly take his place behind his niece and nephew in public. If the 37-year-old would have been left to walk, not side by side with his brother, but behind his Year 4 student nephew and Year 2 niece. Imagine, for a moment, being shunted unceremoniously down the pecking order, and while the world was watching live on TV, in favor of a child. It is hard to see how that would not have been an ego blow for Harry, who for the majority of his life enjoyed nearly equal footing with this older brother. Let's imagine Harry had come to the Philip service, very likely on his own and very likely wearing what has become his now go-to facial expression when he's in Blighty, the Sussex sour grimace. He would have likely been left to sit behind his tiny niece and nephew in the Abbey, both of whom, along with 3-year-old Prince Louis who was left at home, have bumped Harry down the line of succession. While he was born in the number 3 spot, he has been successively shunted lower and lower over recent years and currently comes in at 6th. The question of where Harry and his wife Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, fitted in the palace pecking order, back before they had bolted for sunnier climes in every sense, was reportedly a touchy issue. In Finding Freedom, the book's authors write that after the Sussexes wed, Harry, who wanted to do so much in the world, was growing frustrated that he and Meghan often took a back seat to other family members' initiatives and priorities. While they both respected the hierarchy of the institution, it was difficult when they wanted to focus on a particular project and were told that a more senior-ranking family member, be it Prince William or Prince Charles, had an initiative or tour being announced at the same time, so they would just have to wait. While the Sussexes' abrupt exit does not come down to one factor, it would make sense if the duo, already sensitive to their lower status, had read the tea leaves and realized this was only going to become more so as George, and Charlotte and Louis, got older. The reality of this situation is something that Harry has long been keenly aware of, telling Newsweek in 2017, "I feel there is just a smallish window when people are interested in me before William's children Prince George and Princess Charlotte take over, and I've got to make the most of it." Let's be clear here, Harry clearly absolutely adores George, Charlotte and Louis, telling biographer Angela Levin in 2017, "The reason I am now 5th is because of my nephew and niece, and I could never wish them away. They are the most amazing things ever." My point is, Harry's standing and spot on the palace totem pole was only ever going to slip lower and lower. Such is the fate of the spare.